Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Richard.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Oh man, how am I doing? I spent like an hour and a half teaching my son chess. He's getting into that. Uh
How old's your son?
he's 12.
Oh, wow.
He's starting to
Is
become
he
a
pretty
man.
adept?
It's interesting. Let's
Just so
see.
you know, so you're all on board. I already started recording.
Yeah, I'm recording too, just in case something.
Perfect.
Yeah. So and I have to stay up to date on my field, which is rapidly changing. I think anybody in like
Meaning your job.
Yeah, like anybody in either IT or data oriented field is kind of bearing the brunt of revolutionary changes. And eventually this will
You
all
mean
filter.
AI?
Yeah, yeah. So all of this stuff is going to filter down. It's I'm mostly doing it because I'm bracing for impact. Because uh the world is a very different place and most people don't realize it yet. It's like
I
one of
would agree
these
with that.
like I think something big has happened and it's but like the masses don't realize how big the thing is.
Hmm.
Uh AI is getting pretty crazy. But that's not like I don't have to do AI, but it does have an impact on my field, if that makes sense. I
I
try to
think it
stay up
does
to
too.
date. I'm trying to
Oh,
just
I'm
stay up
sure.
to date on all this. That's all. It's a lot. It's too much. Like I can't do it, but I'm trying to loosely stay on top of it. Um, so like I don't know how you do it, Goose. You post so many videos. I'm struggling to. Uh, I just don't have the time. It's I don't know.
I'm very blessed with not needing very much sleep.
I don't know
I'm
what that's
working
like.
crazy. I'm working crazy hours at my job. I uh, it- working like consecutive 12-hour days, 5 days a
Wow.
week. Yeah, I wake up around somewhere between 4 and 5, and then I just work till about 4 or 5 or 5 little, but and then I go to work out. Um, and yeah, it's um, my job has created a huge fire, and I'm part of the team to put out the fire, and I've been doing that with my job from the get go, and I've been, kind of uh, stand out as someone who's handles pressure pretty well and is capable of sticking the course and finishing the job no matter how long it takes or what it takes to get it done. And so they keep putting me on these like fire brigades and okay, we're about to create this fire. We
I
don't
hope they
know
pay
what's
you
what
well for that.
exactly.
Like I hope
I,
you.
I
the- are you salaried or
no,
so you get
I'm
overtime?
paid per hour.
You
Oh
get
yeah,
over. Okay.
oh yeah. That's
That's
what
how you
makes it
can.
worth
That's
it.
how you can afford. What is it? 12 kids? I lost track.
10
You have 10.
double
You're
digits
double digits.
finally. Yeah.
I know families that have 21.
Wow, that's amazing. That's great.
You start at 18 and you don't stop. I guess.
What's that?
I guess they start at 18 and they're very they're Orthodox families. So like
Oh, okay.
so some sects are just like pop out those kids, baby, and don't stop. I know. I had a
Mm,
professor in college. He was Catholic. I think he had like 9 kids. I had
that's
a
that's
I had
great.
I had a math professor. So, what did you want to talk about?
Well, um, well, first off, I wanted to get some information on what's going on with your life. So your son's into chess, and your job is keeping you very busy, and obviously my job is keeping me very busy. But what's going on with your like downtime? What are you doing other than work?
Oh man. Well, I've been playtesting something with Panzer Core. Uh, that's been fun.
Tell me more. Do you want to share your
Well,
screen?
oh. Oh, I mean, I guess I could. Oh, but not now. Okay, share my screen. Oh,
So I plan on sharing my screen and trying to take a deep dive on Locarnus mod and trying to understand the experience thing.
can you see the Word document?
Not well. Hold on. Let me try to
I always get
pull it.
confused with Discord. I don't find their screen sharing intuitive.
Yeah, I'm trying to make the
You have to join my
screen
stream,
bigger.
I think. I think that's how it works.
Uh,
But besides that, I've been watching a lot of Dimension 20. It's a D&D tabletop thing. I'm really into watching comedic D&D. So,
Comedic D&D.
yeah, yeah, they're comedians. Everybody in Dimension 20. It's a part of Dropout, which used to be College Humor, a YouTube channel. But they have a dungeon master, and he runs these campaigns, and they're all comedians. It's all improv stuff. I mean, D&D is improv in a sense, but I enjoy that. Uh, Could you see my? I have
I
some.
see it, but it's not. I can't. Can you make it bigger?
Oh, the font. Yeah, hang on. I mean, this was good for me. Let's make it really big. There we go. Now can you see it?
Very well. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
So this D&D thing. My son. I introduced D&D to my children, and I love it. It's very fun. And my 13-year-old son has taken over the dungeon master role, and I've really enjoyed the aspect of watching him bring it out of us. That has
my
been a
my
lot
my
of fun.
son is a DM too. Like he can DM as well. I'm gonna take him to.
Your
He's actually
12-year-old son?
yeah, yeah. Actually, he designs
Awesome.
games. Like this is so crazy. Talking about things I'm working on. I'm gonna take him to Gen Con next year, which is like the biggest board game convention, I think.
Is that in Minnesota?
It is in Indianapolis.
Oh,
So it's like a quick 4.5 hour drive for us. So he can meet people that design games and attend any lectures and so on. But he designs very creative, strategic games. He uses me as a playtester. He says like he's like, Abba, you're so good. You're just so good at like strategically figuring out like how to, win these brand new games. He when he was a child, he couldn't beat me at chess, right? But he would like make modifications to the chess game, and then I would just smoke them anyway. Uh, because like I don't know what it is about chess, but like you just learn how to think in two-player games. And when he tries to come up with a new game, I somehow smoke him most of the time. Uh,
mhm.
and then like I was playing a board game that was a bluffing game like a couple nights ago. I had never been exposed to it before, and the this guy was a DM as well. He had this huge gaming basement. It was amazing. But anyway, he wins like board games all the time, and he was like, "I'm surprised at how quickly you picked the game up and then destroyed us." And I was like, "Oh, well, the game is an end player, end move, uh, uh, a multi-stage game where you update your information set based on the decisions that the people make. And I know that the optimal decision is a mixed strategy Nash equilibrium. And I also know things about the psychology of trading from economic research. And it's kind of like that was like a double whammy of like the chess master comes out and I know some economic theory that guides the decision making on how to bluff in a trading scenario. Anyway, like I completely destroyed everybody in this game. Uh, so my son, like he's into these games, and I think he wants to like make games. Uh, like I think that he wants to make games. Like, he's interested in business. He's been asking me economic theory questions. I've had to
Oh
start
wow.
explaining things like revenue and profit. We even got into natural monopolies and stuff. But I think if you ask me, I think he wants to like design games and sell them to people. He's already
Computer
selling
games or
game
like
like
board
strategy
games?
games, like board games, strategy board
Like the
games.
kinds games that like military games and those kind of things.
Not
You know,
that.
like
Games like chess,
have you
but
ever
different.
seen? Mm,
There's another game called Hive that you should all check out. It's a simple strategy game, but it has a lot of chess like elements. You have like six different insects, and they move in different ways. And you have like a queen that you have to surround. He really liked that game. Uh, and he was already talking about like he's like I got to learn about marketing and advertising.
the game
In order.
that I have enjoyed for quite a number of years now, but I can't get my kids to play anymore because they get a little. I don't know. I burned them out. I guess is a game called Bonanza. Have you ever heard of it? It's a German game. It's
I
a
don't know.
German word for bean. Yeah, and it's the bean game where you have different beans and you're trying to plant them and you harvest them for coins. It's all to do with math, and it's very fun.
Yeah, speaking
I'm
of
hearing a
math.
little bit of an echo.
Oh, you are? Is it because you're getting an echo? Oh, let me tone this down. How do I sound now?
Oh, not from you, from me. When yeah,
I'm
and
not
I
hearing
still
an
hear it a
echo.
little bit. But, oh,
Do you
that's
have
good.
another do you have
Um,
another mic on?
no,
Huh.
not that I'm aware of. So let me tell you a little bit about me and what's going on with me. So, because so this year, Richard, I turned 50 last year at the end of the year,
Hey, half
and
a century.
yeah, I finally made it. And I don't know if it's a midlife crisis or whatever, but it's just like these opportunities to do things I've never done before have come to me, have been presented to me, and I've taken them. So I ran a 5K. I'd never run in my life, and I ran a 5K in the 4th of July with some buddies of mine at church, and that was hard, but I was pleased because I never stopped. I ran the whole time, and I got uh, like 32 or 33 minutes somewhere in between there. They didn't have like a time thing, and then I turned 51 last Sunday, and the day before that, my last day as at 50, I ran 4 miles in the woods. That was killer. That was hard.
Oh
And
yeah,
all
trail
of this
running.
comes, oh my gosh,
I've
we're
done a
running up these hills.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
so,
Actually, Goose,
it's so,
it's kind of funny. I've done running too. My brother maybe I did a 25-mile mountain marathon with shingles.
no way.
Yeah, I did, and it was 90. It hit 90 degrees. I think like a shock like 83 people out of 400 couldn't even finish. My brother made me do that. I
When
actually,
did
I
you
still
do
do.
that?
Yeah, he made me do that because I was obese. I'm actually obese now, but I'm working on it. I'm like doing 15% gradients on treadmill. But of course, the biggest thing
And
to lose weight is what you eat more than your exercise.
absolutely, absolutely.
So I've had to finally, I got to start cutting back on the pizza. I really like pizza. It's definitely like it's just so good. Like, but I have to like if you cut out all like sugar, that will hyper accelerate losing weight
Right.
because that's the thing that really dismantles people. Um, because sugar is often in drinks and there's no fiber or anything to slow down the processing of it, and it like spikes your blood sugar and it makes you hungry and everything. But anyway,
Mm.
so I've been in the running. Like I've done 17 miles on a trail by me when it was muddy
Oh,
and it
goodness.
rained on me, and I was in shorts and a t-shirt and it was iced too. So
That's
I
brutal,
know
Richard.
what was that?
That's brutal.
It was.
You're putting
It took
yourself through that.
I did it because I wanted to, but it was I remember I had this moment. I was at the halfway point and it started raining. I was like I started laughing. Like, you know how like things get so absurd that you don't know how to react and you just start laughing about it. You're
While
at
you're
rock
going through it,
bottom, right? Like the situation is so bad. You're like, how can it get worse, right? I was already really tired and I had to come back, and then it started raining, and I was going to be on ice on that section of the trail. Uh, so I got through it. I mean, by the end though, it was so muddy. I was slipping and falling everywhere. Um, but when I got through it, you feel really good. You're kind of like, if I can do that, if I can do that, you could do a lot of things. My brother just took
right?
me on the third tallest mountain in the Smokies. He lives in Tennessee
Oh,
now. He
nice.
took me, and it was funny. It was 13 miles, really brutal gradients, and you could, as we were coming down, we could see the soul leaving people. Most people do
What do you
not
mean?
make it to the top. Like, yeah, it's one of the most
Oh,
popular. It's the most popular hike in the Smokies, and the most popular time of the year too, because it's beautiful up there. In the fall, it's absolutely spectacular views, and you could
so you
just
just did
see.
this recently?
Yeah, yeah. But we did it, and we saw, just like as we were coming down, like people looked defeated. Like they looked like they didn't have any willpower left to go on. Uh, and I
And
did
they
that hike
because they were
obese.
ascending or they were descending?
They were ascending. the The
Okay, so
ascension.
they're like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I
Yeah,
got
it's
you.
funny.
But
I
you had
did
just
that.
finished, and you're like,
Yeah, I actually did that hike obese, technically. Uh,
well,
so
done.
it's like it just shows how a lot of it is willpower. But there is a physical component. Like if you physically can't do a hike, you physically can't do a hike. Uh,
Right.
but I'm like super
With
stubborn.
that, I I did a week long trek, actually 8 days full total in the SHT, the Superior Hiking Trail up in uh, Minnesota, with a buddy of mine and his three boys and two of my boys this summer, and it was I've never gone hiking before. I've gone backpacking and things like that, but this not like this. I never spent the night in a tent, and here I am, spending a night in a tent for 8 days or 7 nights, and oh my gosh, it was suffering like I never knew, and I just dreaded it each day until about the fifth day, the fifth night and or fourth night into the fifth day is when it kind of converted from this sucks. I can't. I'm just doing this to uh, have a closeness with my boys and um, that kind of thing to really enjoying myself and embracing the suck, so to speak, and really getting a lot out of the trip. It drew me closer to God, closer to my uh, boys than I ever thought possible. I'd never been madder at my boys than on that trip, and never felt closer than I
I think
did
that's a
in the midst of
you
it.
talk about through hikes. One of my goals is when I retire is to do a through hike, like do the Pacific Trail or the Rocky Mountain, not the Rocky Mountain, what's it called? The Continental Divide Trail. Uh, but to do that, you need to be in pretty good physical shape. And the thing
Mhm.
with through hiking is a lot of people get enthusiastic about it and they're like, I'm going to do 20 miles today and then 20 miles tomorrow. But the reality is your body has not adjusted to constantly hiking.
Mhm.
So it's recommended you do like 5 miles, maybe seven, then 10, right? It's something reasonable.
Yeah,
Because
right.
if you push too much, your body just can't handle it. Um,
Well, going with the boys, we wanted to, do something that wouldn't uh, break them down either. So, I mean, we did 50 miles total.
but speaking to your thing, it's often been stated by thru hikers that it's almost like a spiritual experience when you do a.
Yes.
It's part of why I want to do it. I think I'm a big fan of self-actualization. Like I think that there needs to be more of that. I think a lot of problems would go away if people had the freedom to kind of chill out in nature for a bit. Get
Hmm.
away from these societal pressures. You just go work your 9 to 5, right? Come home and watch Netflix.
Hmm.
I think people need humans evolved outside. Just to remind everybody, we evolved to be in sync with the rising and setting of the sun. And there's something unnatural about the way humans work now. It's like we get up at 4 in the morning to go make an early shift or something, or we're working, like 4 to midnight. The vast majority of humans are not naturally nocturnal.
Right.
That's just not how we
Right.
work. I think there's a lot of problems, mental health problems, physical health problems. I think there's evidence that not following the natural cycle of the sun with sleep is causing health problems.
Mm.
Uh, Also, we're not getting vitamin D. I mean, that's a huge vitamin that humans need. Uh, so yeah, I think it's something everyone should want to do, but we're kind of like programmed to stare at screens. There's a lot of interesting stuff about how we don't fully understand what the electromagnetic waves from the television is doing to the human mind. But what we do know
Yeah.
is it makes you more susceptible to be in a relaxed state, and as a consequence, more susceptible to subtle messaging and more receptive to suggestions. So if you're like watching TV or if you're looking at screens all the time, this could be having an effect on the brain waves that may not be ideal. So people should be consciously trying to go outside and take walks or jog or whatever.
Yeah. One of the things to prepare for the whole thing was, and my wife suggested we take 2 weeks away from screens, except for my job, and that that 2 week uh, cleansing, so to speak, help me draw again closer to my family, and it set me up for habits that I still follow today. Where I just when I'm done with work, I don't look at the computer until I'm done doing stuff with my wife. Tonight being an exception, she's at a meeting, so I have the
That's
opportunity
extremely
to
wise, Goose. Very, very, very wise. Taking breaks from screens
what?
should be like mandatory.
Oh,
Like,
it was her idea, and it also helped prepare me for the 8 days in the wilderness, because yeah that was I don't have a cell phone, so that already helps me out with right
oh, how
there.
do you don't
I
have a
don't
cell phone?
don't
How do you VPN log in then?
how do I
You have to,
what
how do you have to, you're a remote worker. How do they secure the login? Like when you
with
get
my
onto your computer?
laptop.
Yeah, but like nothing you do is secure without that.
My laptop is
No, you
it
still
has
have to
a
do a
it
VPN
has
login. Otherwise, it's not
yeah
secure.
on the yeah no I it
Oh,
has
do you have
that
a
on it.
process on the laptop and not through the phone?
Hmm.
Oh, right,
Hmm.
right. I keep forgetting this. Not everybody has a smartphone. You're living in like 1600s England or something. So yeah, so you have if you work remote, normally you have a login on the phone to do the VPN thing. Wow,
And no,
that's
I'm quite the odd duck, not having a cell phone for
actually, it's a good thing you don't because there's less data tracking on you.
right, right. That's a small reason for why I don't have a cell phone. I just I like to be unplugged.
But if you were
Okay,
interested in what I was
let's
working on, right?
yes,
I was working on
want
a
to show me what.
I'm almost modding mods, if that makes sense.
Mm.
But I was working on a unique difficulty setting with modifications to deductors file. It's been a lot of fun. This was me. These changes. I was converting some things to core units on the map at Poznan, so you don't have to buy these units. Uh, I made a few placement changes. I replaced the cavalry with a or replaced the mountain unit with cavalry, which makes way more sense. Oh, yeah, I don't know if you know this. You can change like rule files. Let me hold this up. Uh,
You could change what?
you could change a bunch of things in the rules file, um, like experience growth. Um, Hang on, let me pull it up. So deductor puts in like you can change the campaign, for instance. You can change the equipment file, the game rules. Let me pull this up. You can see this game rule file here. Can you see my WordPad here?
All I see is changes to deductor mod.
Oh, never mind. That's because I think it's only fixed to. I think the way I'm sharing it's fixed. Anyway, you can go in and you can do things like change the experience growth. How much does it cost to overstrength something or provide scenario replacement costs, regular and elite? You can change what the elite replacement costs are in the scenario. So that what this rule here was the base cost is usually 200%. It usually is what that means is if it costs like 9 prestige to elite replace 1 strength point on a unit, it would cost 18 prestige to give it an overstrength point if it's at 200. But it would cost 13 if it's at 150. Uh, so there's things you can do to change other components to the game.
What is the normal overstrength base cost?
It's 200%. Uh,
Oh,
now
why
I
would you want to make it cheaper?
because detectors units are very expensive. So he makes the base cost of almost all of the units much higher. So I thought I actually did the math on this. If I set it to like 165%, it's about the same as the old game, the base game. But I have like unique rule set I was playing with, so I wanted to make things not as outrageous in price. Uh, and then what else did I do? Oh, I made changes to the bridge engineer. Uh, I gave them +1 initiative. I think there's an error in the equipment file. This is very funny. The Volkstrom, the volunteers in 45, they have a higher initiative than bridge engineers.
Oh, jeez.
So I think there's a mistake in the equipment file. I gave them, they have 1 initiative. I think they should have 2. And that definitely improves the bridge engineer's performance. And then I upped their ground defense and air defense because I think that they should be able to hold their own on a river pretty nicely. And I didn't know how to only buff their defense on the river, so I just buffed their ground defense. Uh,
Mm.
and then I raised the price a little bit just because I buffed their stats. And then I gave recon move to Panzer One and the Panzer 1A and the Panzer 1B, just so that they're viable. Like I think they're hard to use if they don't have a recon move. And then for balance purposes, I you can give a class label to the units in the equipment file. I'm saying the Flampanzer is on the Panzer One path, so you don't lose experience when you upgrade to it. Um, and then I
You mean the
changed the.
Flampanzer that's normally a Panzer II?
I don't
Is it a
remember. I think
Panzer
it's called
One?
a Flam. I can look at the equipment file. It's got a different classification. I don't remember what it is. But I'm giving it a Panzer One class, so that way it's in the same class. Uh,
Oh, Panzer.
I
It's actually in the Panzer II class, and that's why
oh
if you upgrade the Panzer II F, that you who's the other super tank that you get in 41?
Rondorf.
Yes, Heinz Rondorf. If you upgrade him to a Flam, which I almost always do, it's free. I mean, not free.
So
It's a
so
cheap upgrade.
in Deductor's mod, he doesn't have that same classification. Interestingly
Meaning,
enough, it's not the same. There's no upgrade path for the. You can upgrade to a Flam, but you would lose experience. Uh, so
uh,
he didn't give the Flam an upgrade classification that works for anybody. So I made the Panzer One that upgrade. If you're playing with a Panzer One and 41, you should be rewarded with something. is my argument. Uh, Also, he changed the rate of fire to 88 to 7, and I think that was too
too
much of a nerf.
restrictive.
Like I think the rate of fire is higher than that in the base game, much higher than that. And he was making the argument, and I agree. The rate of fire in the 88 for air defense is like way too high. It's why the 88 guns are destroying everything. So like lower it, but I think he lowered it too much, so I just raised it to 8. It's working out very well. You've got a very powerful air defense, but it's not insane. And then for balance purposes, I want to change.
The way that Battlefield Europe nerfs all the AA, all the AA sucks. But the caveat is it all AA can be converted to anti-tank at the same time.
Right. I deductor.
So that's
I I kind of like it's a lot of work to do that. Like I don't know how to do that properly. You have to have an image. There's like you have to add in new lines in the equipment file. So the way it works is the 88 gun is in the anti-tank section of the equipment file in the anti-aircraft section.
what's
But I don't.
188?
Oh, that's
You
the.
mean 10.8?
Is that what it's called? I don't know. I
The
10.8. Yeah, the
10.8?
44 version. Uh, So it's that's the one thing I want to be able to do in the equipment file, but I don't know how to do it properly because I think you have to add images and there's like all this data you have to add. All of these modifications I can do manually without too much trouble. Uh, but when you're starting to add the what do you call it? When you switch the switch feature, that's not simple. Like
Yeah.
you have to add in that new equipment label and stuff. So Um, that's how it works. The 88 has a presence in the anti-tank section.
Battlefield Europe has, especially low harnesses. When I played through Africa Corps, there is almost every single unit has a switchable class.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. If you go look at his equipment file, it blows up like the anti-tank
Yeah.
section. I don't know how to do that
Actually,
properly.
it's the tank versus there. There's very few anti tanks compared to the amount of units that can be classified as a tank and a whatever a
Oh,
tank
maybe he
and something
combined
else.
the anti-tank with the tank section. I'd have to look, uh, but it's a huge equipment file. It's much, much bigger than the default
Yeah,
equipment file. It's a lot of
yeah.
work, man. There's a lot of work that goes into that. I don't want to mess with it. I'm like, I'm already hitting my comfort zone doing this. These are
Mm.
all things people can do. And then for balance purposes, I wanted to change the Stug 4 to Stug adding label, so that way one of my anti-tanks can upgrade to it without a penalty. And then I need to give the Hornets the Martyr 2 label. Uh, oh, I did this so that I could upgrade one of my Stugs to a Stug 4 without penalty. And then I need to give the Hornets a Martyr 2 label so my Martyr 2 can actually upgrade to something. And then in 44, I wanted to give the Panzer 4 a Jaeger. I want to give it a Martyr 2 label as well. Like, I want the Martyr 2 to not just die. So I want to give it like an upgrade path. And
Mm.
then I want to give recon move to the Panzer 2F in 41. So that way the Panzer 2 is like something you can use without too much fear. Because I think they were using them as recons at that point. Oh, the other big change I made, this is a big complaint people have about the game, is like the spawn at the end. It's kind of unrealistic if you think about it. And so you can just manually change the max core slots that the enemy has. And it's working really.
Locarnesses has no core slots.
Yeah. Now I like that, but I don't like that. I mostly because on an extreme difficulty setting, I would like to farm at least a little bit because because the prestige is so tight. If you don't have a tight prestige situation, then I love it. Like, if you're just playing on something like Rommel, then you can manually change the core slots to be zero. Because I agree, it's the least pleasant part of the game is like you're spending less time thinking about how to like fight strategically and well, and more like how do I block all these hexes? And there's
Mm.
something
Mm.
unnatural about it. But it works really well if you change the core slots to super low number and then slowly increase it. Um, that way, like you feel like if the enemy does spawn, it's not the end of the world. Like at Mabuij, I think they get like 13 core slots, which is insane,
Nice.
right? And then all of a sudden they're spawning tanks everywhere. You just don't have the armor to deal with that. So you have to like rush to block everything. So you can see my plan is, oh, we'll just systematically increase this. It makes sense as the war increases that more and more reinforcements come. Oh, this is so cool, by the way. I made another change. There's a universal file called movement that's for the entire game. If you're wondering how Lucarnis or how Battlefield Europe has that 4 movement on the road, that is an equipment option. Or not an equipment, that's a movement option. One of the changes I made was change the bridge engineer to have, instead of using 2 movement to get to the river, you can use 1. And what that means is if it's 2 away from a river hex, you can move the bridge engineer onto the river.
You
And
meaning you can move it like from plain, you can go to a plain, clear, call it clear, whatever, uh, terrain, and then move also into the river.
yeah, so think about
You
the
don't
base
have to be
game.
adjacent to the river.
That's right. And I think that makes the bridge engineers more interesting, right? You
Yeah.
don't have like it gives the players more flexibility.
Is that
I
only for bridge engineers?
only for bridge engineers.
Oh, I love that.
But I'm trying to tweak the bridge. People don't like bridge engineers, and part of it is I don't think they're set up correctly. Make them be able, they should be able to move from 2 hexes away to a river. I mean, this is what they're trained for, isn't it? You still have all the other movement restrictions. So if they're moving on clear spaces just to get to the river, they should be able to do that. What else did I change? Oh, I made all the road movement changes to point 0.7. That's in Battlefield Europe. And what that does is it allows that extra move on the road. What I haven't figured out is why 2 movement units don't get 3 movement. Because if you have, I don't know, like 2 divided by
So what?
points. So this is an option. So there's a bunch of terrain movement informations that's stored in this movement file. It shows like, oh, to go to a forest if you're wheeled, it's this much movement. To go to a forest if you're leg, it's this much movement. If you're alpine,
Mhm.
you can change those stats. So the other thing I changed was leg alpine movement is point 0.7 for clear and frozen. So that means
Meaning,
if they're on a road in a clear or frozen environment, they get zero point 0.7 movement points. So they're going to be able to move 4. What that means is they can move 4 on the road. And that is how you get that Battlefield Europe effect.
mm,
And I love it. Now,
XP
obviously,
drops from 100 to 65, 45,
oh,
30,
XP
20 to
growth.
50.
Yeah, XP growth. So there's a experience file that explains how your core how like how much what the default experience growth is based on the star level. So when you're at 0 stars, you have 100 experience growth. Um, and then when you go to 2 stars, I was changing this. The default is 100, 50, 25, 12, and 6. Um,
Oh, shoot.
so that's why getting the 5th star is so hard because you're at 6% of the. When you went from 0 to 1 star, imagine how hard that was, but like it's 6% of that. So
Well, I mean, if you're playing on 25% prestige, isn't that like 1%? Because doesn't it drop that
yeah, yeah,
a
yeah. So
percent?
that's the default. So if you do a double field marshal, for instance, that means that 6% would become 1.5 when you're going from
Right.
4 to
True. And
5.
I think it drops it.
Yes, yeah. So it's really hard to go from 4 to 5
Right.
stars. On Deductor's mod, I'm playing with 10% experience, or I was doing a unique difficulty setting with 10% experience growth, double Rommel, and then 200% experience for the enemy, and then 200% for 200% on prestige. So you're getting a
You
five
need,
star. You get a 5 star unit at Piatek, for instance.
no,
Um,
thank you.
so the reason I made these modifications is because at 10%, it's really hard. But you'll see that I upped the 50 to 65 and the 25 to 45. But I actually think the oh yeah, and I think these two should go back to the original in my opinion because I think once they get to 3 stars, that's really good. But this 45 is actually 4.5% on my unique setting, so it's really hard to get the 3rd star, right? So what's
Uh,
cool about it is when you gain a star, it's a really big deal. It's
right.
it's like a really big deal. So
I'm watching Night Phoenix and the damage he's taken because one, he has less artillery to play with, and he's also feeling like he's forced to take chances
yeah,
sometimes, and it very regularly goes bad because he doesn't have the experience.
Yeah. So, okay. The other part, what I'm doing is I have dice effect in play. So the reason I have such extreme settings is because I have the dice rules in play. And what this is allowing me to
I
do,
hate dice chess.
what
I
this is allowing
hate
me to
dice
do,
chess.
it's a mathematical exercise. You are learning what you can get away with. So, this is such an
No,
extreme,
thank
like,
you.
this is like, I have an extreme difficulty setting here because I have dice in effect. And it's actually a ton of fun. It's for math people. Uh, it's like a puzzle with all of you. You're rewarded for playing well. So when you do the
See,
mass attack
that,
bonus, so
yeah, I
if you,
understand that, but okay. So let me just talk a little bit. So Keen does these things. Are you aware of Keen?
is it another Panzer
In the
Corps player?
forum? Yeah, but he's from Russia, and he creates mods. Um he's very skilled. I played him in multiplayer, and he kicked my butt so much so I don't like playing him. And I'm pretty good at multiplayer. Um, but and he's not really interested in playing me anymore because I'm easy for him, I guess. And but he creates mods, and if you look on the forum, he's created like many mods, and he's shot me these like emailed me these mods, and I have them loaded somewhere, but I'm not interested in playing them because he says you have to play them on dice chess or chess mode, and try and solve them.
Oh,
I don't want to do that.
well, this is
I don't like that.
so I actually play tested, by the way, ultimate mode with dice because I was fascinated by Delta 76 playthrough, which if you guys haven't checked out, you should check it out. And I'm starting to realize why it's trivial, like why he's posting these videos uh so easily. It's because it's actually too easy. Like that's a weird thing to say. Like on ultimate mode, dice suddenly neutralizes a lot of problems. It's fun at first, but then you're just going to get all this prestige and overstrength and everything, and exploit a lot of mechanics. On this difficulty setting, it's very stressful because yes, I benefit from the dice chess thing, but I have other rules in place. I have to overstrength. I have to use elite replacements, and I can't deploy a unit without doing that. So I have these other restrictions in place, and so what ends up happening is everything has to be like mathematically calculated out, and you have to use mass attack bonus. I don't fight the Air Force directly. I use AA. On this difficulty setting, I got what is it, the 10-6 AA gun. After I think 5 or 6 scenarios, it's got 1 star, which is insane. Keep in mind, I'm on 10% experience growth. And the reason it got that high is I could farm and then I would attack the fighters like over and over again and not have my fighters attack it. Because in Deductor's mod, the fighters are insane. Like you just do not want to tackle them head on with inexperienced units. And it's kind of cool that I could get a 1 star unit after like 5 or 6, like a unit that's normally very hard for people to get to 1 star. I can get it to that star by farming, uh, by being very clever. Like you have to really understand maps to play at this difficulty level because you have to do elite replacements. That's the other change I was doing. So I'm forced to spend prestige, and my prestige is very tight, and I have to buy units. I can't use hero units, and so on. So it's like, so when you have dice chest in effect, I think that the setting has to be really extreme because then you're rewarded. So if you play good classic Panzer Corps, it's nice to be rewarded for that. Like, okay, the mass attack bonus is going to work. One of the things I do like about it is that the air battle is very predictable. Like one of the most difficult parts of playing Panzer Corps is managing the air battle. With dice chess, it's trivial. It because I can just hit things with ground units that are AA, and then the planes go to the airfield, and then I farm them. And it means my fighters don't have to engage in combat that they will take losses in, and that I
They can
really
just
like that
attack
aspect.
ground units.
What was that?
Yeah, they can just attack ground units and get cheap experience.
Yes, yes. So that part is really fun. So, Soren spends a ton of time on his maps. Like, how do I deal with the Air Force? He builds these really complex, wild orchestrating schemes to entice all these planes into combat. Uh, uh,
Have you seen
because
what I've done on? Have you seen any of the GTPG stuff I've posted?
I haven't watched that in a long time.
Okay, it's insane. It's
It,
insane that the amount of planes that they have. Like even early on, the amount of planes that the AI or the enemy is on a massive scale versus what you're used to. Like maybe there'd be 6 planes. There's now like 60. It's really it's not that bad, but it's really, you have to plan that first day very, very, very carefully. It takes a lot of preparation to prepare that first day to create traps so that when you
yeah.
press end turn for that first time, a lot of uh, tricks happen.
And it's an amazing tactic, but man, is there a lot of mental energy put into it. And like, I get
Mm-hmm.
exhausted trying to think like Soren. Like, I don't know how he does it. Like, I don't know how he's just like, oh yeah, here's this really obscure way to trap like six
Right.
planes. you know,
I'm gonna put my fighter here because I know that I'm going to attract the fighter that comes out at round 6 to
yep,
try and bomb my recon that I place in a visible
yep.
position way off here on the screen. That God knows how he came up with that.
And then it sets up the
Yeah.
chain. I mean, he set that up. I think he was maybe Bricata set up the basic idea, but I think he set up the idea that we can make a complex chain. I
Right.
on dice chess, the solution to all of my problems is I hit the aircraft with anti-aircraft guns. So this is another principle I've always been bothered about with the community is they think anti-aircraft guns aren't that useful, but I think it's because they don't know how to use them. Like you need to use them to hit the planes and exploit the mechanic that they will fly to the airfield. And you can, I on Narvik, for instance, I was farming 2 planes because there's 2 airfields, and I just let the planes sit there, and I let my AA guns keep firing at them. And even in cloudy weather, even the cheap one of the cheap AA guns does 1 damage, which is really nice. I think it does 1 damage in clear weather too. But that was really cool mechanic. The other thing is I'm just changing the experience upgrading penalty to be a little bit more reasonable. Oh, this is
See,
supposed to change.
I can't stand the whole idea that I know what the outcome's going to be when I that to me isn't war. War is, it says I'm going to do 5 and and they're going to do 1 damage, but when I
Well,
press to
that's
attack
fine.
and it's the opposite happens.
But this isn't me trying to mimic the war completely. I think of it as a mathematical exercise. That's
Yeah, and if
what
that gets you
attracts it to
off,
me.
but I'm
There,
just telling you that doesn't get me off.
so there's people that play this game, I think, mathematically, and then there's the people that play the game for the war, that war component. And I have a foot in each
Mhm.
camp. I like both, but I think I've kind of gotten bored from like having my units get wrecked all the time from rugged defense. But what's cool about doing it this way is it is extremely stressful and mathematical. So I kind of like that. Like the situation is I'm never going to be able to sit on prestige to get myself out of trouble. And I can't overrun the enemy with my highly experienced German units. And my enemy units are more experienced than me. So the player has to be like really on top of things. These are just some other modification. Oh, I added exit hexes. Yeah. Oh, I
Are you
changed.
thinking about posting this on the forum like Von Thurigan
I have
does
a
and
replay of
other
these.
modders?
Um, I don't know. I don't know.
No,
Like,
no, I mean your mods, your mod to the mod.
oh,
Von Thurigan puts
I
this
don't
all the
wanna
time.
do that because this is Deductor's mod. So he like I made a modification. This is a personal. Like, I don't know what would happen if I took someone's mod and then made other
Yeah.
modifications outside the scope.
Locarnis and von Thurigan do the same thing.
Yeah, but I don't know how big Deductor's ego is. Like, he might be offended or something.
What?
I'm
It's a
saying
game.
people, okay, it's a pro. Well, what I'm getting at is some people don't like you using your material to make other material off of it, and there's lawsuits about like lawsuits can not that that would happen here, but if you make an art image, for instance, and then somebody else grabs it and then modifies it, there can be legal issues, right? Some people get offended about this because they're like, you should pay me for the right to use my art image. Uh,
Oh,
you know,
I think the von Thurigan and Locarnis have asked the original creators, but
I don't
I
know.
don't
Like
think it
Deductor doesn't seem
happened.
engaged with Panzer Corps, but I still don't want to piss him
No.
off, if that makes sense. So that's and the good news is almost all these changes anybody can do, like without too much trouble. Except the equipment file might be a little annoying until you figure out how to like move around it. Uh, add it. Yeah. So this was the these I wrote these down so that I have to make these changes for the next year. Some of them, not the movement, but some of these changes I have to make, and then I can make changes on experience growth and everything per year because there's a rules file in every year, and there's an equipment file in every year. Anyway, that's why I have it like this. Um, and it's really fun. I think of it as like a puzzle that I have to solve. Like, how do I get through this map without losing strength points because I don't have a lot of prestige and I can't deploy the units unless I give them elite replacements. I'm always looking for a way to like uh, make things puzzle like. I like that aspect. Like this difficult. I don't have a name for it. I don't know the difficulty. Let me type it down for people. 10%.
Well, your Napoleon difficulty sure got a lot of traction.
I
I'm
made it
really
as like a
impressed with
meme.
it.
Like I did post a video like this is mimicking Napoleon's failure in the Russian campaign. Like we all know what happened to him at the end of that, right? Like, uh 100 or
But it has
200%.
inspired a lot of people. Night Phoenix was the reason why I got a channel in the first place. He used to post videos, and he was very new to the game, and he didn't understand the mechanics of it. So I understood the mechanics of it. I didn't have a channel at that point. I just had a YouTube
Mhm.
thing, thanks to my son, who set up a Google account or whatever. I don't know what the hell he does or what he did at the time, but he helped me understand that, and um, he let me have a YouTube channel. But I didn't have anything, whatever the hell that means. So anyway, so I helped him out, gave him tips on how to play it better, and he used to put like videos, like a little videos explaining while he's reading out um, a little video of like you're seeing the battle. It was really cool. But then he got rid of his channel, and when he got rid of his channel, I was like, "Where'd you go? Where'd you go? You left a void. You left a void." So I created my own channel because he left for a little while. He came back, and he has like 4,000 subscribers.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, it's great.
yeah, he's I've been kind of enjoying uh he's suffering. I mean, it's going to get a lot worse too. But this is the rule set. This is hard, guys. This is very hard. This is like a mathematical puzzle. The dice mode has to be there, or you're just gonna fall on your face because because you're gonna get damaged and you're not gonna be able to deploy your units. The thing is, you have to give elite replacements and you have to give max overstrength. So the reason I have 10% experience growth is to delay that for as long as possible because you're gonna go bankrupt if you're getting all these units like they're getting a star and then it's like oh I have to give it overstrength well there went all my prestige so it's so if I want it must be to be deployed I should put that in there so you have to do this you have to give them elite replacements and max overstrength to be deployed oh rule of one is in effect by the way. Rule of one. That's another part. The rule of one is awesome. I don't. I almost don't even want to play a campaign without that rule now. That was Lacarnas's like. Lacarnas and I were talking about it, and I was like, you know what? That is such a great idea. And Deductor would support this. Deductor was always trying to like showcase units when he in his playthrough, and I think he would love this rule. I just wish I could. I wish he would engage with me. I've dropped the comments a couple times over the years. Hey, this is happening, and he doesn't seem interested. So I think he would
Yeah,
come back.
I have always, it was Bricata that showcased various units in his playthrough, and I was like, oh, I was intrigued by using different units than the best units, and so I started creating my own, like only using two of each type in a campaign, and then Locarnis asked me to do the Battlefield Europe Africa Corps campaign with the rule of one, and I had to bite the bullet and accept that, and I'm really glad I did because it really forced me into playing with units I would have never considered, and plus I also tried to make all the new units I purchased Italian, which forced him to come up with new Italian units, which I wish Uhu would take that concept, that idea, and expand his repertoire that you can play with in Italy Core, because the units that are available on Italy Core
Yeah.
oh, and I'm playing with the rule of two on that one because
It's probably
just
impossible
I'm just thrilled.
otherwise.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is the rule set right here. And
Mm.
I'm telling you, I love it. It's for math people. I haven't made a video about it because I think, I don't know. I've probably made enough videos about different. I don't know why Napoleon took off. I mean, people know it's a joke difficulty, right? Like,
No, it's a challenge, and
I don't think
I
anyone's going
love
to
the
succeed.
inspiration. Well, I've created difficulties that I give up after a while. That super hard one came up with where the it like progressed. It was 25% prestige, 25% experience, and every year the units go up one more in over strength until it gets to Manstein difficulty. And in 44, I started dropping my units down to 9 as a base strength,
Oh
and then
my
at 45, I
God.
was going to
You're
drop them to
insane.
8. Yeah,
That's
well, I never got there. I gave up after what was it that broke me? Oh yeah, Tatsinskaya. That's what broke me.
I think I know what I want to call this while you're talking. The mathematician difficult.
Difficulty.
Yeah, because this is really hard, guys. You're
Let me
gonna
show you something. Can I share my screen?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'll stop
I'm going
sharing.
to show you.
I need to watch a stream.
Give me a sec. Application screens. Go to screens. Screen 1. That way you watch. You'll watch what I'm watching. Okay, so do you see?
Yep. Oh, whoops. Yeah. There we go. Max. Okay, what do you here is
Okay,
which one is this?
this is GTBG
Oh, okay. Oh, is it
with von
the enemy's
Bergen's
turn?
tweaks. It is the start of the scenario. This is West,
Oh, it's
and
Wes.
it's Germany West. I have defeated Germany East. I've already played the first 4 broadcasts with just 2 days each day. Thankfully, I've been getting rainy days some days, and that really helps. If the first day is a rainy day, this little traps I've set up won't work. You basically can put units here around Berlin, and then around the Elbe here, put units here, and then put units down here. you're tasked with taking all of this over. The I looked at the scenario parameters because it was busting my balls. Like it's busting my balls something fierce.
You only have 24
Because
turns?
yes, and the AI starts with 15,000 prestige, and
Oh
they
my God.
start spamming really strong tanks all over
Oh
various
God.
locations on the map. It's a ball buster. And there are planes on here, Richard, that are 15 strength 5-star units that are just slaughterhouses for your planes.
You have to use
It's
you have to
not
trap it
fair.
and use you have to trap them and use AA. I bet
Right.
even a 5
Yes.
strength fighter in cloudy weather will take 1 point of damage if it's attacking and it doesn't
Correct.
know there's AA. And then once you damage
Okay.
them, the AA, the AI behavior is to send it back.
Now I have the sound off for the music. Von Thurgen has this special music, and I love it. But for
Okay.
you know
Oh, are you in the
talking
middle of the
purposes,
campaign? I'm confused. You have
no,
three
this is the
star.
start.
Your units are
Yeah,
three
this is
star?
the end. I have
Oh,
some 4-star.
oh
I'm
my
playing on
God.
Field Marshal Rommel difficulty.
That's easy
The
for you.
highest they can get is no, not
It's
not
not
in
easy.
this. Yeah, I look at my prestige. I have 39.
Oh.
This is busting my balls big time. Experience cap is at 500. So watch this. Oh, good. It's sunny.
So the planes will do max damage, right?
Right. And
Oh
I've
boy,
set
they're
up
getting more
traps.
prestige. Yay! Well, let's see. What's is this 44? When is this?
This is the end. This is 45.
Oh, well, that's why you're suffering. The Allies had a
Right.
lot of units.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the reality is the Germans they had really weak units at this point. I
Right.
mean, they were throwing boys and like old men out there. Yeah, the AAs are the 88s, but that's a 12.8. It's a little too powerful to be doing that. Oh, you have a fighter jet? That's why you don't have any prestige. Like those
That's
are
my only one.
that's extremely expensive.
That guy gets shot down
Yeah, I think they don't
by
have great
third floor.
defenses, right? They just have high initiative.
Well, when the guy that has 15 strength and 5 stars attacks you,
Yeah,
you just go, I'd go bye bye. Is what happens.
because I think they're like delicate planes, aren't they? I mean, I'd have to look at the stats, but like BF have better air defense, don't they?
So that's my chain traps that I created on this. Look at that, 15
Oh
strength
my
vomit.
God, that's a Tiger
Yeah.
2?
Yep.
How did it
Yep.
do that? Oh, is it 5 stars?
It's no, it's only two
Why did it
stars, but
do
it
that
at
much
15
damage? That what?
because it's 15 strength.
But you
It
have what's
says,
the
hey,
stars on the Tiger 2?
I forget,
Because
probably
I don't know,
3.
like the Comet can't be better than the Tiger 2. Even at 15
Oh,
strength,
it's not.
I think that seems a little comical. Oh, but you're playing on regular dice roll, so maybe it rolled high on initiative and you rolled low.
It might have.
And because I would expect 1 damage, and it could have rolled really high on the dice too. Let's not forget that. What the
Look at it
hell?
just tear apart my tiger.
Oh my God! It's in close defense zone. That's probably what happened there. Because your defense is terrible. Well, it has 4 close defense, so maybe not. I mean, in some sense, it's realistic in that at this point we had a lot more equipment going in, right? Like
Yeah.
we had cleared a port, I think, not Antwerp, it was some other port, and so we could start like getting fuel and tanks and everything. And the Germans were clearly we had basically firebombed most of their industrial production. um, and they were just getting crushed in the east, losing access to resources. So it shouldn't be too surprising that the German units are feeling overwhelmed here.
That's putting it mildly.
I mean, the hammer was coming down. Is this March of
Right.
40?
This is May of
Oh, it's
45.
May. Oh, it's really bad then. Yeah,
Right.
like
Well,
there's.
because I have defeated the Russians in Berlin and Germany East,
It
and now I have to defeat them in Germany West.
looks like that's not happening.
This is where I'm at right now as of the last time I recorded.
I don't know how you keep
And
track
it's
of all of these saves and not accidentally delete one. You should like have an auto email your save file on your desktop to your email
yeah,
in
see, so
case.
rain helps. So
Oh,
this
it
this
caps their
is
initiative.
where
Yeah.
I'm at.
Oh no.
They just keep spamming
How
these
many
darn
units have
things. I
you lost at
finally
this point?
two.
Oh, that's not bad after 8 turns. I mean, you're getting overwhelmed. I mean, they're just
Right.
you're not going to clean this map.
Well, I'm gonna try.
Not in 16, I guess 17 turns.
And look how much prestige I have. I
You
have
have
12.
nothing.
These suckers, they have 15 strength, five
Oh,
starred M26s, and they got more up here. Let me just
oh,
surrender it so you can
you're
see
not
what the
doing
heck
it.
I'm
It's not happening. It's not.
doing.
It's not like
uh, I'm gonna
look
come
at
up
the
with
oh
something.
my god, the armor. That might be a little
Uh,
unrealistic. I'm not sure. Like, did we really have I mean maybe by
it's
May we might have overwhelmed with that much armor. But I don't know if we would have had that kind of armor. We would have had Shermans. Like if that was a
and
bunch
they
of
keep.
Shermans,
I've destroyed so many
you're
planes,
not even
but
close.
they come with more. These 15 strength meteors. Oh, it's just killer. They just one shot my planes if they find them. Ugh,
Well, to be fair, there wasn't a German Air Force at this point.
right. Ugh,
Like
it's rough. It's rough.
that's what it probably felt
Yeah.
like to the Luftwaffe.
Mm.
Yeah, we sent our fighter squadron out, but there was like 10 times as many planes.
All right. Now this is what I was hoping to go through with you. I set up uh, uh, Locarnus's um, grand campaign. I set up a test thing so we can work with and help me understand the experience thing a little better.
I
I
can't
set up
find much like with the way attacks work, like a lot of that stuff is hard coded, but with experience, I can't even find. I don't think anyone's even experimented with. We know what causes experience growth. You have to kill and suppress, and the quality of the unit matters that you're killing. But like, is there a hard formula out there? I think it's hidden if there is. Um, but I did explain to you
right.
that it's a 50% cut every star. Now, I don't know if that's true with Battlefield Europe, if they made it. I don't know if they made modifications to that. I could check Battlefield Europe. Let's take a look.
Okay, so I these the way he set it up is he starts them out with 160 prestige. I'm sorry, experience on if you play it just on kernel difficulty.
Hmm.
But I took all that experience away so we could see the difference between the growth. But I guess you already told me what
So what I can tell
what
you,
difference that.
what I can tell you is whatever the formula is, which I don't know. It's just like 100% normal rate of return on the attacks, and those attacks, the reward for the attack will change based on how many you kill, how many you suppress, and the quality of the unit. But I don't know what that
So this
formula
right
is.
here shows that it'll be 2 kills, um,
To
2
suppress.
suppression. So let's save this little experiment right here. Test 2. And let's see what happens when I attack it.
Oh, that was a good
All
outcome
right.
for a rugged defense.
Yeah. So let's see what that did to the
That was a
experience.
lot. What's
That
the
is
difficulty setting here?
insane. Kernel. And this
So
had
no, there's
0.
no. Oh yeah, that's why. So you got a rugged defense and you did a lot of damage. So rugged defense also boosts your experience growth.
Really?
Yes, it's good.
51 experience, 3 kills, rugged defense. So it all depends on if they get an attack back. If they shoot at you, that
Al- Also,
that increases the
yes,
experience you get.
yes, that was a perfect attack for experience growth. If you think about it, the only way it could have been better is
Yeah.
if you did more damage or if you took more damage. Uh, like if you took 9 damage and then wiped the unit out, it might have been a star. Like,
That was 11.
for
This
doing
has a
two.
star.
Yeah, so it's cut in half. So it would have been 22 if it had been 0 stars. It would have gained 22
Fire
experience.
back.
I
All
I
right.
think it's possible if they fire back you get experience, but
Yeah, it
I'm not
does. You
entirely
do.
sure.
It
Oh,
does
you do.
because
Okay.
I've played around with it before.
The issue is it's much like with attack, you're like with attack and defense. Somebody had to like run the experiment, collect the data,
See, look
present
at
it.
that. Look at that.
What happened?
It okay. This unit attacked 2, hit 2, and it and
Gained 11.
the cavalry hit or fired back but didn't hit me, and I get 11 experience. You see that?
Yeah. And what'd you
11
get?
experience, but this one it fired back and it hit. I killed 3 and it killed 1 and I got 10 experience. So I got less experience.
Yeah, so there's obviously even more complex stuff going on.
Yeah.
Wi- Uh,
It baffles me.
so the only way is somebody would have to literally manually collect the data on as many different combat encounters as possible with all the unit classes. And frankly, probably you would want to look at different units within the unit classes. Like one thing I can tell you is like the 7.5 centimeter artillery piece gains experience much faster than the 10.5.
Because
It
it
just
has a higher rate of fire.
oh yeah, rate of fire probably would have an impact on this as well. So you would have to like collect a crazy amount of data. You'd have to like do a manual Monte Carlo exercise or something. Like you'd have to collect all of this data from these random attacks, store it, and then do an average. It's a little different from the attack defense stats because that's fixed. Like it doesn't matter about anything else. Doesn't matter what the strength of the unit is. Doesn't matter what type of unit it is. Uh, all that matters is the absolute difference between attack and defense. And there's a hard coded value that says how much, what the probability is of damage. And then you multiply that by the strength of the unit. So anyway, for this is much harder because there's a lot of hidden variables that we may not know. I don't think we have access to that data. I've certainly never seen anyone on a forum talk about it. I couldn't
No.
I couldn't find anyone that was like doing raw data collection. And if you think about it, it's a lot of work. Like
Yeah, this is
you would have to try so many scenarios. Like what about rain? What about snow? Think about the air attacks in
see,
cloudy weather.
is that gonna give me a better outcome?
Yep.
Yes, it did. Because I
You
killed more
yep.
and it wow. See, I don't understand this.
So so I wonder, did you get a rugged defense on that one?
No.
Whoa. Interesting. You'd have to do that again, trying to get a rugged defense and hope you did more damage, and then you could see what the difference is. Because I was gonna be like, oh, you get 3 experience per kill, but you did get a rugged defense there. But you killed one more, so you might get a lot of experience for a kill. It might be like 10.
Whoa,
So how much experience do
oh,
you get for this?
that's
I
going
bet
to
it's
be
less. I bet it's
huge.
less because you didn't
I
take as
think
much
it's going to
damage
be more because I did more kills.
and less damage.
Oh, maybe you're right.
Let's
Yeah,
find out.
it was a better outcome.
Okay,
62.
you did 5 damage. Okay, I wonder if you get like 11 experience for the kill and 7 for the damage done to you.
Let's see. Let's see what the not the kill count. The load. Let's try to understand this a little bit. So two shot back at me.
That
Two
percentage
shot.
is that percentage of killing you. So 30, you take 31 times however many unsuppressed there was. Was that 8? Or
There
it
was
has.
8 originally there,
Okay, so
but
take
I
30. So you take 31% times 2, you get 0.62, and you round it up, and you get 1. That's why you took 1 damage. The 31% is hard coded as the difference between effective defense and attack, which in this case is -2, because 4 minus 6, because it's the cavalry to the Crotchetson. So that's a serious penalty, because normally the damage percentage is much higher. It's like in the 50s. Um, and you can get it like the bigger the gap between defense and attack, the higher the percentage to kill. Your effective attack was 3 minus 6 minus 3. Notice that your kill rate was 26%. So you had 10 strength, so you were expected to do 2.6 units worth of damage, or 3, because you have to round. So you were expected to kill 3 from your attack. But you did a lot
no
more than
2.
that.
It said 2.
You killed 5,
It was
though.
it
That's
right.
because of the dice rolls. Then the dice rolls come in. But if you didn't have dice rolls, you would have killed 3. And but you killed so many that there's only 1 unit or 2 units that could fire back, because you also suppressed some. You had a really lucky
So
roll.
yeah, yeah, and the more luck you have, the better experience you get. So what I don't okay, so it says 5 killed, 2 suppressed. There's only 8 of them, but 2 fired.
There must have been 9.
No, there was 8.
Oh, why did 2 fire then? Did you fire at the same
I
time? But then if you fired at the
no,
same
because
time,
the mission
oh
they
yeah,
would
you
have all
crushed them on
fired.
initiative because of the mass attack. Why? I'm. It was at 8. Yeah, it says 8 strength. Why was there 2 firing?
I'm not sure. Let's try it again. It's kind of a little fun little experiment.
Huh.
And that's what I like about this game is you can set it up with little cheat codes and set up each unit to have
Oh yeah, by the
0
way, people,
experience
there's a
or
cheat code. I forgot what it is. It's like Control Alt Delete something, Control Alt C, and then you can like,
Shift Control Alt C.
and then you can do hashtag prestige, hashtag experience. Uh,
Now that didn't get the rugged defense, but it was the same as before. Will it be 51 again?
no. So you got 11.
The
Hey, that's
rugged
interesting. You got 11. So we learned for a 0-star attack against cavalry rugged defense, it's 11. I think it would be even more if it was like a tank or something. But yeah, you got 11 experience for the rugged defense. So if you did it again, but you only killed 1 less, I think you would go from 51 to 40. So I think that first one you killed 3, and it damaged you
So the
3.
initiative, I'm working on the initiative. That's why I always fire first, unless they get a rugged defense.
Correct,
And then they only had 3 fire back, and all 3 killed.
because of the dice roll, but only you would have only expected 1 kill because the kill percentage is 31. And if you take 31
Right.
times 3, you get 0.93. So that would round up to 1. But you got
I'm
really
just trying
lucky.
to understand.
You got really lucky and unlucky actually on your dice rolls.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know what the hard formula is on experience growth. It would surely be useful to know that.
Would it help with planning? There's
So you're going to have more experience there from the 62, I think is what you had before.
right
Because you took, yeah, you got two
64.
more. That's interesting. You gained 2 experience from the damage. So, okay. So, yes, you gain experience from damage, but not as much experience as when you damage somebody. And it might be at a rate of 5 to 1. Like, like if you, so you get 10 experience for killing one, and if they damage you one, you would get 2. And that
Mm.
only would be the case, we know, for cavalry at 0 stars. It may not be the same for a different enemy unit. And then I would think if you damage the unit once and it damaged you once, you got 12, you would get 12 experience. And then if there's a rugged defense on top of it, you would get like 23 experience.
Well, that should just tell us right there how much damage. So I totally whiffed it. Only suppressed one. So 7 attacked
Okay, so
me.
31 times 7,
6 experience. So that it's 2
yeah.
experience for
Oh,
each
there we
kill.
go. That's only for cavalry though, because I think it might be more if it was a tank. Like if you did that to a tank, I think it might be like 3 or 4. So you do get experience for getting damage, but it's much lower growth. Like it's much better to kill a unit and not take damage
Right. Right. And you want them to fire back
and miss.
because for right. That only got me 6 though.
How
It's
much damage?
interesting because I think you're right. The unit type, the unit
Yeah.
type must get you more experience.
I wonder. I
So
wonder
if you're
if
attacking
it's
with a tank, it doesn't accumulate the experience
what's the
as fast.
value. What's the value of the Crotchetson? Like, what's the unit value in
I
this
don't know
mod?
what you mean by unit.
What does it cost to buy it?
Oh,
Okay,
214,
214. What's the cost of that Panzer one?
178.
78. That's a difference of like 36, right? So that's enough of a difference that maybe that rounds. I wonder if it's not unit type, it's unit cost. That might be a faster way
Hmm.
to do the experience growth or an
No, I
easier way.
think the tanks, like, see, that only did 2. That
You get
I damaged him 1.
and you got
Okay, let's
2.
just look at the stats. Okay, so I damaged 1, and they fired at me 1, and that only got me 2 experience.
Mm-hmm.
This damaged 2,
You got
and they fired
6.
back, like, I don't
But the
know, they
thing is,
fired back.
isn't the 38T worth more? Oh, actually, yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm wondering if so they're both tanks, right? So I'm wondering if the
yeah.
value difference between them is explaining the experience growth difference. That like I think that could be a part of the formula because the 38T
Oh,
is worth more, and because it attacked a, it's worth more. So the value of killing the cavalry, which isn't worth that much, is more limited in this experience growth. Like if a tiger tank attacked that cavalry, would you even gain experience? Because like
yeah, I don't. I mean,
you,
there'd be at some point when you're attacking with, like, you have 3 or 4 stars. Will we be able to get any
yeah,
experience
one of the things I
unless
want to
we're
know is if there's a hidden partial fraction of experience
right?
that's tracked.
Right. That's that's stuff we need to know.
But this is
at
only because we're
3D.
nerding out on super extreme, crazy difficulty settings that normal people don't bother with. But
That's true.
I don't know if the developers are ever like, yeah, obviously people will play on double field marshal. It's like, so you got
That gave me
5. Did you see
15.
that? You got 5 per kill?
I got 15. Yeah, no, I got 5 kills. I got 3
Oh,
per
the
kill.
3.
And they
Okay, so
didn't
you got
fire
3
back
experience. Right. So I think
per kill.
it's
15.
I think it depends on the unit you're. It might depend on the difference in the unit cost of what's attacking and the unit cost of what's defending. And it wouldn't shock me if there's a hard coded list buried in a file we can't see that says if the difference is this much, the experience growth will be this. And and probably the experience growth gets larger the smaller the difference is. So when one of our infantry units attacks a roughly equivalent in value infantry unit, you probably get like 100% experience for every kill. And then if the difference approaches like 100 difference, maybe you only get 75%. And then when you get to the point where it's a tiger tank attacking conscripts, maybe there's like you only get 10% or 5% of the max experience that you could get. So if you kill, like if the Tiger Tank one shots all the conscripts, maybe it gets 1 experience point.
36. Good grief. This is what?
Wow, that's interesting. So you get 12 per kill. Hmm.
Right. But it fired back at me. Would it? Yeah, I'm just
It would have
curious.
been different. I think it would have been slightly lower if it hadn't fired back.
Let's try that. I know how to prevent
So the
from
problem, I
firing
wonder if
back.
this is why no one's done this, is the number of permutations to like get something concrete is insane.
Now it says it's going to do 3 and it's not going to fire back, so we should all be good.
So
That should
yeah,
be the
okay,
exact same, right? 36, but it won't be. 3 killed,
yeah.
24.
Oh, whoa.
It's,
So you got
what the
okay,
heck is this
okay. So you
thing?
got 8 experience per kill, but 12 for firing back. Holy smokes. Okay, okay. I think you've discovered a secret here. This is so awesome. Soren wouldn't like this though. He doesn't like things firing back. But I think you want to heavily suppress unit and then you want them to fire back but not damage you.
Right, right. Because damage, it gets you experience, but it's painful experience.
You want them to fire at you? That's a huge bonus. I guess they're rewarding you for dodging fire and like
Right,
surviving the counterattack. I mean, that makes sense.
right.
Well, I didn't realize the bonus was
It
that
does,
big.
but
Oh, this is a
look at
cool
that
fact
crazy
that I was
movement.
starting to think about. My level bombers on dice chess are probably getting a nice experience bonus when they attack an anti-aircraft gun on a cloudy day because the anti-aircraft gun won't hit them, but but they still fired at them. So that's like a cheat code for leveling things faster. Is like with your airplanes, you can on dice mode, you could just have them attack an anti-aircraft gun that you know will miss.
Hmm.
Okay,
Well,
I think you discovered a cool little secret there.
I'm going to save those and maybe we can dive in another time, but I'm going to need to wrap it up here because
Yep.
it's getting past my bedtime.
Ah,
As yeah, I got to wake up at the butt crack of 4 or 5 a.m. and
yep.
start another 12-hour day tomorrow, Richard.
Yeah. I'd love to like do this, at least once a month or something, just like check in and talk about what's going on. We could talk about Soren's campaign, uh,
Yeah,
which I think you'll
Soren's
crush it.
must watch.
Yeah, yeah,
I
obviously.
let's just take a little plug to discuss what we're enjoying about Panzer Corps right now. I'm I love my must watches are Soren's playthroughs because they're One, I love the fact that he names his units. I love the little synopsis at the beginning of where he breaks
Yeah.
down how he's going to break down the map. Delta 88, is it 88, right?
76, Delta 76.
Delta 76. He does the same thing before he
Yes.
shows you what he's going to do. I think those really step up all and help prepare, making their videos must watch in preparation before you play a battle.
Yeah.
And then Night Phoenix, the reason why I love watching his videos, he gets so mad. He gets so mad sometimes, and it makes it a little harder on the ears. But I I love seeing the pain
I
that he
think
goes through, and
I'm gonna say
it's like what I was going to say is he's it's like you're there with him. You
yeah.
feel like the pain he's experiencing, the fact that he takes his time, really tries to plan it out, and you're sometimes looking at it going, I might have done that a little different.
I think the
Why are
problem
you
Night
doing it that
Okay.
way?
So like here's the problem. We are highly experienced and we're up to date on the latest theory of Panzer Corps. I don't think Night Phoenix has
Yeah.
any idea. He doesn't know any of the stuff that we're talking about. It's like watching an old school Panzer Corps player uh
Well,
who is
and
learning how
he
to
plays
walk.
it, but he's playing it with like not superior map knowledge, whereas we're playing it. You'll find out that when I'm playing Locarnus's mod, even though I should know these maps really well, I'm still taken off guard and play like a noob in some respects, having things that happen that I'm not expecting, and that makes it fun. That makes it fun to watch. That makes it fun to experience. You think, oh, I found a secret. Oh shoot, they caught me. You know that aspect of the gameplay and that aspect of watching somebody go through that is very entertaining. I think that's why I've had an uptick. To be honest with you, I think the uptick in my channel um, subscribers and views and whatnot is due to the fact that I started these two new campaigns and the Soviet stuff. I think I'm
I'm very
drawing
interested in
some
Soviet Corps, by the way. That not Soviet Corps, the what do you
Soviet
Soviet
storm.
Storm. Like
Yeah.
I would not have played that map that way, but I could imagine Russian commanders playing the map that way because they didn't understand what they were dealing with. And
Right.
I thought you were going to lose more than units than you did. Um,
Ugh.
but I'm a cautious player. Like I would have crossed the river, I would have set up my corridor of evacuation, very Napoleon-esque, and then I would have said, "I'm out, guys," because I would have assumed that there must be more waves of German units coming. But you were
Well, it's
playing it
very
like
what was very frustrating to me is that I felt that the game did a great job of delaying me from feeling like I could rescue the pocket. So I
hmm
felt rushed to get across the river and that and to rescue some of those units, but they were already lost. The units were already lost by the
Yep.
time I got across the river. It
I'm sure that's
that
what the Soviets felt like.
playthrough was exciting.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I,
And
I, I,
you wait
I,
till you see the next one.
I have a
They
question
have
before
me. The
you.
next one is a C1. The second scenario is a C is like an
Is it up?
amphibious invasion stuff.
Is it up north at the port? Or what's it called?
Yep.
Archangel? Okay, yeah, because the Germans did
No,
attack
not
it.
Archangel. Not
What's
Archangel, but
what's it called?
uh, shoot.
It was like the
Uh,
Allies supplied the Russians with stuff through that port, right? It's in the Arctic, and like, the,
no, it's in Finland, the border of Finland. It was some disputed territory that
oh,
I ended up looking up.
I wanted to ask you, do you know how many battles there are in this mod?
No,
Okay, and my other question
I've
was, are these battles historic?
oh yeah,
That's so
oh yeah.
fascinating.
It's making me research.
I
I
was like,
researched the one when I
that
did
first
the race
that
day.
so
That
that
really
first battle.
happened. The
Okay,
KV2 held back this German army for an entire day. Just one KV2.
So that's fascinating. I didn't hear about these battles. Maybe it's on Wikipedia. I don't know if it's on Wikipedia.
Yep, that's where I looked them. That's where I
Uh,
looked them up.
we had this problem where a lot of the Russian archives were hidden from us. I think they're hidden again. It's unfortunate. So there's all these battles. I think they said something like 40% of the battles on the Eastern Front were unknown to us until the Russian
Mm,
archives released. That kind of excited now because
yeah,
I feel like you're watching history when you
yeah,
play that.
and that's why I think there's been an uptick in my interest in my channels. People are interested in the Soviet stuff.
It is very interesting. There's so many battles that were fought on that front. I was actually been watching videos on what happened after Kursk, like why the Germans couldn't. The Germans seem to have strong core divisions and stuff. Like why couldn't they stop them from crossing the river? I my biggest complaint about the Grand Campaign is I don't think 43 is as well done as it could be. Like I think there
Mm,
should have been more battles in 43 that were way more desperate. They only captured it a little bit after Kursk, but there was more insanity happening as 43 was closing. Um, like there should have been more battles. And actually, maybe they dropped Oral because I don't know if that one was real, but just add like after Kursk two or three more battles, capturing the fact that you're desperately trying to block all these crossings and the Russians are just crossing everywhere and you just can't do it. And you have to have your orders
right.
modified. Hey, fall back to Kharkov and then fall
Yeah.
back from there.
That's that's a thing I wish the people that created these scenarios would take more advantage of the changing orders.
Yeah.
I love that aspect in the first
And
mission in Africa
yes.
Corps. I love that aspect in this first mission in Soviet Storm, and
And it's
it's
historic.
very enjoyable.
Like the crazy thing
Right.
is it's just totally historic. The Germans really were like desperately switching their objectives. Uh
Mhm.
and obviously the Russians had to do that. Yeah, I mean it should be like Soviet Corps did that, didn't it? It had like switching orders sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. On the first one against the Germans, Minsk.
Yeah, like that was good because that's the reality. I
Yeah,
think it,
Soviet Corps could have been so much more.
in fact you should talk to
I was
Lacarnas
part of
about
it.
that. Maybe actually he doesn't want to do that because that's a lot of work to modify the stuff. Okay, I'll let you go.